Y'all already know it's another Super Saturday. Welcome back, Hot Dogs and Donuts, aka Team UWC. Y'all know how we do, so let's get straight into the videos today. It's Super Saturday. We got some Goku talk today on top of whatever happened in the demon world. People over on Rumble already seen part of this video, so shouts out to Rumble. But I got something else for you, right? It ain't the same video twice. It's gonna be an extended cut for them today, but well, let's see. That's why I tell you to go to Rumble because they got an exclusive last week of when this was recorded. So things happen. Things happen. Shout out to Rumble though. Make sure y'all get over there and check them out.
The Nam vs. Goku fight is interesting because it puts Goku in a kind of antagonistic position we aren't used to seeing him in. We've seen Buddy being the underdog physically throughout the series in a number of fights, but this scrap against Nam is really the first time in the series where I can see a large number of fans want to see him take an L. Not because he was something different than the YS we all know and love, but because Nam's ambitions of feeding the fam are so pure and relatable, it makes you feel like a kid in culture if you don't root for him. It's cool seeing Toriyama kind of navigate this dynamic throughout the fight as well. The battle opens up with Goku giving his best Kakashi cosplay and swiping the move he just watched Uncle Jackie extend Krillin's ball spot with. Going after him his technique and looking to knock the Eastern pugilist across from him on his back in record time. Nam's third eye is open though. He senses the malarkey at play and is able to dodge and tries to hit homie with a foot dive straight out of Dr. Doom's move list from Marvel 3, but Goku sharp. Steps out and we get a solid back and forth going. With the audience and contenders all having to put respect on the display of martial arts prowess, they've been able to cop front row seats too. After taking a nasty kick, Goku shows the depth of his appetite by eating that nonsense, then lets off a forward B, looking to knock Nam back into Gerudo Valley. Nam is able to DI in time though, and turns it into an assault of his own, giving Goku a taste of that Spock he hit Ice Spice with earlier. Goku's overcome with the algaes, but as you all know, Nam got that ESRB rating put on his hands a long time ago, and he was preparing to punt little fella out of the ring, so Goku snatched him up with his tail, but playing the whole time, and then iced out his momentum. Here's where Toriyama got straight into his Looney Tunes bag. Goku's still trying to work out his bag of special moves with this being so early in the series. He got possessed by the spirit of the Tasmanian Devil on Crash Bandicoot and began spinning relentlessly, becoming an unintelligible mass of flailing arms and legs, making his way to Nam. They weren't cooking up nothing like this back in his village, so he proceeded to get bullied by Goku's Mario down B-ass assault, and right as it looked like the end of the match was coming, Goku gave himself a concussion from the velocity of his spinning and went to sleep. Nam decided that as much as it might pain him, it would be foolish to not take advantage of this gift from the gods, and so Buddy super jumped into the air and hit my man's Goku with the Alice from Third Strike down heavy punch cross chop from hell, landing straight on the kid's esophagus. The whole audience almost threw up. Nam started praying immediately, knowing he just bought himself at least 3 more trips through Samsara with that one. But as the countdown hit 9, this gremlin Goku apparently was too much of a crash out to live in the company of the Makai at this point. Darted to his feet and started coughing like he just did the hot chip challenge, as opposed to having the entirety of his neck turn into Dorito dust. Nam couldn't believe it. He damn near threw in the towel right there. But remember that he still has a village to feed, and he was sure that one more 100-foot drop directly on his neck would be enough to even put the most energetic of jungle men down. And so Nam hopped back up and prepared to end the franchise early, but to his surprise, as he looked up, he saw Goku climbing up next to him and eventually hopping up even further, leading to our first mid-air battle of the series. Goku appeared to have something up his sleeve though. Rather than keeping up the aggression up top, he had a fast fall. Nam was like, damn, worse for me, having Mr. Beast cut the check. But as he prepared to make contact, Goku changed trajectory and utilized his momentum to perform a flying kick directly into Nam's chest, sending our hero flying into the dirt, broke with a new hospital bill to reconcile on top. Goku and friends celebrated, but Chun was sick to his stomach because he was really about to get his wig pushed back by a 12-year-old, wasn't he? Here's where Toriyama's writing chops come in, though. As we head backstage with Chun and Nam, Chun congratulates Nam on a battle well fought, and as appreciative as he is, it's hard to take the compliment in stride knowing the city's going to starve due to his failure. That's when Big Chun steps up to the plate and shows that he's about far more than checking out fannies, throwing Nam an empty capsule and encouraging him to fill that bad boy up with water to take back to his people. When Nam asked how he knew about his reasons for entering, Chun let it slip that he's Muten Roshi, and that seeing into the hearts of folks is light work for the Turtle Hermit School. Nam couldn't believe it. He was standing next to the great Muten Roshi, but is curious at why a fellow with his clout wouldn't be putting his name out there. And right here, y'all, is why I continue to give all the flowers in the world to Roshi and what he instilled in Krillin Goku. He lets Nam know that this year a couple of absolute demons happened to knock on his door with the desire to train and enter the tournament. Eventually, it became clear that these kids were far from ordinary, and there was a real chance they could take the whole tournament under the right circumstances. Now, one might hear that and be like, yo, that's a good thing, right? You randomly come across two new proteges with that much potential, and they have the chance to take this tournament. What that could do for your name out here would be crazy, right? But this is what sets Roshi apart. Fella has a wild amount of flaws, but one thing he is truly about is seeing the students blossom into the best of their potential. So he tells Nam that he entered the tournament under a different name to let the students that no matter how strong they happen to get, the world is a big place, and there's absolutely no time to get complacent. Roshi knew there was a high likelihood that if they won, that could be the end of their martial arts career. They would think they scaled the highest wall in their youth, and from there would only be down, and the truth of what they could actually be would never be realized. Crazy wisdom. Reminds
That sounds like they Vegeta themselves in the beginning, because you know the writer didn't like Vegeta in the beginning, so that's why he put him in that spot in the end. You did. Shout out to Akira Toriyama though. Shouts out to him.
I remember saying that I heard about the worst thing that can happen to a gambler isn't losing, it's winning. Sometimes being met with success can reinforce the wrong lessons in your head, and while you may get a short-term victory out of it, it comes at the cost of your long-term perspective and the worldview that can take you years to come back from, and sometimes even do irreversible harm. So as Roshi made his way to the ring, he called in one last favor from Nam, having him don his sunglasses and cane and turn the tide on any suspicions Yamcha and the group still had of him, allowing him to cement Goku's head firmly that there are other strong people in the world besides him and Roshi. And this is why it's so powerful to go back and take some time with the early Dragon Ball, right, homies? Getting to see in real time the lessons that make Goku the character that shapes so many of our lives is a crazy thing. And I hope modern Dragon Ball fans can have it in them to go back to the OG videos and manga and see what we're all yapping about. But this leads us into the final match of the tournament, Goku vs. Jackie. And seeing the shift in tone from the goofiness of the beginning matches of the tournament into the tension that is now present as Goku and Roshi stance up against one another just goes to show Toriyama and his team's expertise at shifting from comedy to stark sincerity and real stakes, which is not an easy thing to do. When done incorrectly, it can make your entire story feel inconsistent. But Dragon Ball is able to shift from its most lighthearted moments into depth so organically, it really speaks to the experience of the people behind the pen. Getting the fight underway, though, unlike in the previous matches, Roshi had concluded that against a nutcase like Goku, it would be foolish to let him set the tone, so charges forward to get his offense started. Goku, sure this geriatric menace has no vertical, takes to the air, but Roshi proves white men can jump and delivers a boot to ass, and it looks like Goku's on the verge of a ring out 15 seconds into the match. As Roshi starts to think on how anticlimactic that was, Goku activates his miles per hour protocol and returns to the ring with the power of his built-in propeller. Y'all, the amount of random ass powers, no pun intended, Goku has been putting up here should actually be illegal. This fella got his whole move list from the Hanna-Barbera lineup and putting the whole population through it. Roshi then readies up, hoping to put this match to bed before the little dude can get any more momentum and begins charging up a Kamehameha for the flashy finish. As he fires off, a massive explosion occurs as Goku decides to go band for band and shoots his own Kamehameha wave, leading to both beams being canceled out in the middle of the ring. Roshi's in disbelief the kid managed to perfect the moves to that extent in such a short amount of time, and decides to kick it into high gear, going deep in his bag for that new-new. He hits Goku with a double after image strike and sends his cranium directly into the concrete, ordering an announcer homie to get the count going before this lunatic wakes up. There's no time, though, before Goku's back up and at him, looking no worse for wear. He then decides to try out a trick of his own, not only activating the Sharingan on Roshi again, but making it even better, doing a triple decoy attack and leaving Roshi.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I love how he just gave Goku showering gun. Hey, he said, hey, that's one thing, if you know Goku, that's one thing he does. He steal your move. He was the original Kakashi.
To an
and
massive
copied
goose
1,000
egg as he
movies.
contemplates what kind of demon he created. A little cute thing they mentioned in the manga is the monkey see, monkey do nature of Goku's fighting style at this point. And I feel like that's true. With his high fight IQ and being a sponge related to anything that has to do with making his hands more potent, he's able to not only pick up on techniques mad quick, but perfect them and make them his own in a way that others can only hope to imitate. Looking back on this, I would love if the series would have continued making this a part of Goku's character, with him continuing to steal moves from enemies to build up his own repertoire, getting in his Mega Man bag a little bit. Can you imagine how versatile this would have made him by the end of the series? And it's kind of a callback to his journey to the West origins and everything too. But let me stop because Jackie's still out here fighting for his life and decides a technique he knows Goku can't replicate. Fella becomes loose and sloppy in his movements. Goku attempts to attack Roshi, but is getting parried and sent to the cleaners every time he looks to mount an offense. Turns out Jackie decided to move to the Suiken, aka the Drunken Fist, because he knows Goku little ass has never had a drop of alcohol and wouldn't be able to replicate the feeling emotions the way he could. Two things I like about this moment are, one, when Goku mentions offhandedly that his grandpa used to be putting the belt to ass with this technique back in them days in their hut, which leaves me wondering, was Gohan just at home off that hand and putting Goku's ass through it on the regular? Man, between this and the crotch pillow, Gohan got some allegations to me. I'm not gonna hold you. But second, I love
Shouts
how
out to
this is
Grandpa
homage for Roshi's
Gohan.
namesake, with him getting into
He
a
said, "You
Jackie
gotta
Chan
whoop
bag and
this
showing
little
off
motherfucker
imitating the
ass."
style of the Drunken Master, an all-time martial arts movie classic by Big Jackie. But speaking of being possessed by the spirit, as Goku's getting his ass beat like Rince do, he all of a sudden starts foaming at the mouth and his eyes start rolling the back of his head. Roshi's where he might have knocked one of the kid's screws loose, and right as he hops out of the way of the feral charge, Goku bounces back and delivers a kick that sends Roshi flying into the wall this time. Goku had a secret of his own, having honed his wild dog fist to perfection and sobering the old fellow up with the quickness. And once Roshi made his way out of the debris, Goku started flexing on him, using his tail and all kinds of unnatural acrobatics to hop out the way and make it seem like Jackie was one step away from dementia. My favorite part is when this madman Goku pounces on Unk's face and starts pawing the hell out of him. Once we get into this part of the fight, Goku was in his disrespect bag heavy, and Roshi was getting pissed. I like this fight paying homage to the Kung Fu classics back in the day though. Characters replicating the movements and attacks of animals was always a go-to in those films. And you see Toriyama's inner martial arts fan coming alive here. The battle of attrition is far from over though. Once Roshi fixes his face, the whole audience ends up in stunned silence as he begins singing. Sure, that was time to get the old man his nurse. The joke stopped when young Ningen Goku fell over. Roshi's lullaby fist was a success. Roshi was finally able to exhale, happy that he was able to teach his protege a valuable lesson. So from outside of the ring, Bulma brought up lunch, and a picosecond before the 10 count, Goku and his humongous back arose from their slumber looking to chow down. Goku, with his belly now in control, began busting out his Jonkin fist, showing Gon Freaks how it was done long before the current popularity he's got. Roshi survived the onslaught the first time, but Goku hit him with a remix the second, doubling up on Rock and delivering upon Roshi the harshest got your nose in history. Roshi was at his limit. He respected the fight the boy was able to put up thus far, but it was time for the elders to cement their place in history. Taking his arms out of his sleeve almost as if to show this was the last of his tricks, he informed Goku that the only person he had used this attack against was a man named Gohan, and he should do his best to survive. Goku heard his grandpa's name and was in shock, but before he could collect himself, he was overcome by the power of the Bankoku Pikurisho, or the heavenly shocking palm attack. Goku levitated in the air, crying out in pain, every moment spent in the attack burning what felt like all the cells in his body simultaneously. Roshi pleaded with Goku to give up, informing him that he had already lasted longer than his grandfather had done. The eyes slowly gave way, Craze looked into his eye, when up above him sat the full moon. And here, homies, with the tournament's climax, is where we'll call it. Tune in next time as we finish up the World Tournament. How will Roshi deal with Goku's transformation? Will he be able to make it out of the tournament grounds alive, let alone with any more hope of victory and being in first place? Only one way to find out. Be easy, y'all. Please like, share, and subscribe. Take a look at the channel memberships where for $5 you get early access to new vids as well as exclusive videos. And I'll be catching y'all again in the next one.
Oh, y'all already know what happens. He saw that moon and that boy hit that Ozaru. Shouts out to the Great 8 transformation. Hell, that's why that boy had a tail.
After that, we were introduced to some Fist of the North Star bandits. They got lost and found their way to Dragon Ball. Now, this one introduces something interesting. If you know anything about Sun Wukong, the character Goku is based on, you know he has 3 iconic tools. Goku has two of the three tools, but Toriyama used the third, that tool being the sealing gourd. Here, it has the power to seal someone if they don't answer when their name is called. After being sealed, they're turned into a liquid that if someone drinks, they can steal the sealed person's power. Kinda OP, huh? Luckily, Goku is able to avoid being converted with the power pole, and turns the gourd on its owners. Goku lets the villagers keep the gourd. Shame he couldn't keep it, as this is filler. But it's not really his style to use something like that anyway. The bandits are no match for Goku, but assuming they have been using the gourd for a while, they're probably pretty strong. So, let's give them 67 and 73. Now...
Pretty strong. For Dragon Ball power levels, that is.
Jesus Christ, really?
Don't forget to become a member of Unrelent Gaming's Patreon for exclusive manga content and early access. Isn't that right, Seth?
I already joined his Patreon today. Tons of great stuff on there, actually. But did you really have to blow up the city?
Yes.
Blew up the domino. You blew up the domino, and you're laughing. Do you realize the f***ing crisis here?
And you will be next. Unless you subscribe, like the video, and turn on notifications right now.
Or else what? You'll aggressively scream another man's name for several hours?
Definitely don't need close captioning. What?
For I had feared that something like this was bound to just happen. But while we mustn't act against our own interest here and stand our ground no matter what happens, I fear that now that Raijin has acquired all three configuration cubes, there is no telling on what he plans on doing with them now that he is moments away from finally having to use them.
As our story now continues, following the initial events of the demon god Raijin now finally having to secure his position by claiming all three configuration cubes and having to be moments away from being shown having to use them, to which it was only just moments after having to clear away our and now having to gaze upon the three configuration cubes for himself now was when Raijin then went on to quickly respond, I have waited so very long to finally go and see this day through in absolute succession, and at long last, with all three of these configuration cubes finally within my possession as they await for me to go and activate them, it's time for me to go and finally see on what it is that lies beyond the other side here.
Appreciate that, big homie. Y'all go check out all 50 of his YouTube channels. He's probably working on some more right now. Networking.
But if there is nothing that exists which just so happens to go far beyond our known reality here, then I will accept this revelation and continue to build upon my empire within this current multiverse that I have captured and now currently rule over. However, if it just so happens to turn out that there in fact exist worlds and dimensions that go very far beyond this one, then they too will be conquered just as I had went and conquered this entire reality on top of it all, Raijin says, in which just within these very moments now with all three configuration cubes now being shown having to activate and create a special wormhole that was pulling Raijin within it was when Raijin then went on to continue, yes, what an impressive force of power indeed. And now that the cubes have finally merged together and allowing for this ancient portal to at long last finally be opened, show me the way towards achieving my ultimate goals by revealing the Omniverse's secrets to me, Raijin says upon now being shown getting completely sucked through, and allowing for me to go and find out once and for all if there in fact happens to exist far more worlds out there that are just waiting for me to go and have them be conquered. But then, it was only just after Raijin was then being shown having to get completely sucked through as he now went as far as to find himself within the outer gateway dimension, which is a cosmic pathway entrance that leads directly into the Omniverse, was when Raijin then went on to continue, well, how very interesting indeed, for it would seem as though everything that I had once heard has all turned out to now be true about this place after all. For this must be the entryway, and having the chamber be in what will finally answer the age-old question on if there is more that awaits for me through and on to the other side of this current known reality, which is simply because now if this very idea is proven to be true, then why is it that I find this place far too quiet even for its own good, Raijin questions? For not only do I sense absolutely nothing that is coming from my surroundings here, but it would also now appear as though I am now beginning to sense various different power signatures that appear to be coming from inside of that chamber over there, and while they also appear to be flickering in and out while seemingly rotating other energy signatures in and out before having to replace the ones that I was just able to quickly detect, this only now here goes as far as to tell me that while said power signatures don't appear to be present here alongside with me at the moment, they seem to however be emanating and coming from extremely far away places, Raijin adds, and so this was why you were so determined in not allowing for anyone to learn of such a place now, were you, Grand Minister? For I can see on why you had never had intended to go and inform your strongest angel Myrno about such a place when he had existed, because it's all starting to make perfect sense as to why that is. But see that as it may, you were foolish to have ordered for Myrno to simply lock me away rather than having to destroy me, because I knew that one day my time was going to come, as now it finally has. However, it also looks as though this place hasn't been visited by any other existing creature before my time now, and having to find myself in crossing over onto the other side here. But nevertheless, Raijin continues, there it finally is, as the rumors of its existence has not only now proven to be true since having to first hear about such a place, but now that I can see that there is indeed far more to this life than simply having to exist within the rules and laws of one's own reality, as now I need to go and see for myself on just why exactly this was kept hidden from the rest of us, and to find out on exactly what lies beyond and over on the other side. How very intriguing, and yet so delightfully pleasing to now confirm that my cunning assumptions were not just mere delusions, but rather a profound insight into the infinite tapestry that I always knew had existed beyond my own known reality. But nevertheless, these venerable hieroglyphs here appear to also disclose the exact enormity behind what this so-called omniverse actually is like, for they seem to describe an extremely vast and complex plane of existence, which just so happens to not only house many more additional worlds that stretch far beyond my very own, but it would also now appear as though they each seem to serve their own purpose within this omniverse as well, for these very hieroglyphs read as follows: scrolled in the blood of the ancient oracles laid bare the grandeur of the mighty omniverse, and within it lies a colossal domain which is filled with extraordinary potential. And with the omniverse itself having to harbor billions of known multiverses and timelines, each with its own divergent narratives where every conceivable outcome has manifested differently from the turbulent saga of one's own existence, with battles won by the weak, alliances forged in betrayal, and destruction averted by mere winds of fate, Raijin continues. And for those who still choose to willingly accept this understanding with absolute certainty, then you may enter at your own will. So, then that explains everything, Raijin says. For these are the worlds in which many more powerful adversaries happen to just lie within, each with their own laws of governance and rules, and with each of their own sets of actions and outcomes, and having them all result with drastically varying consequences and conclusions. However, by seeing as to how many there are that are spread throughout various timelines and realities, I have no doubt that there are going to be many worlds and many thrones that I must overcome within this process, which will not take me long after choosing as to where I would need to go and begin. But nevertheless, while I welcome the challenge and having to go and see on just how powerful many of these mighty warriors just so happen to be, Raijin continues, each of their worlds along with each of their universes, no matter how vast and no matter how many there are, will all be conquered within my name as I will go and lay claim over each and every single one of them. So what is this? Raijin then clutches onto his head by responding. This sudden and sharp pain that I feel that is coming from the center of my head. And that's... For where did that unexpected and incredibly powerful fire just come from? Raijin asks, but then it was only just from out of nowhere within these very moments now, as a wall of fire was then beginning to emanate and having to now reveal itself before Raijin, was when an entity behind it went on to then quickly respond.
Oh, how very curious of you indeed, as I wasn't expecting for a situation like this one here to honestly unfold the way it just did, let alone even having to go as far as to have any living creature find their way into this very dimension. But yet there you stand, and now let's see here. Timeline number C427, the first and original dark god of the demon realm, known as Raijin. The entity response, being filled with such vile ambitions and hatred, and yet I'm still very curious to know if you truly believe that your mission to go and try to rule over the Omniverse here was actually going to be a successful one, because surely you didn't think that you were going to be the only one here now, did you? Because as it currently stands, I don't think so, Demon.
And just where in the world did this sudden and unexplainable wall of fire just come from? Raijin questions, and what's even more is that there also appears to be something that is lurking within that wall of fire behind it, as I demand to now know as to who that is. And so, I take it that you seem to know all about this Omniverse as well now, do you? And so just what kind of trick are you trying to go and pull on me here, creature? For I demand to know on how it is that you know my name along with who it is that I am and what I'm after right now, Raijin demands. For I demand answers and I demand for them now. Do you understand? And so now tell me on how it is that you were able to go and reach this place along with knowing all about the Omniverse before me. For I take it that you two had went and used your own set of configuration cubes from whatever world you just so happen to have came from, which would explain as to why you are here with me. Is that right? And if you did, then I demand to know on which world it was that you just so happened to come from, creature. And so now start talking, with the entity responding,
Foolish demon, for I need not in having to use such childish relics in order for me to enter into the halls of one of the many gateway chambers that leads directly into the Omniverse, creature. For these configuration cubes that you just so happen to speak of are only limited to those who simply wish to try and discover the Omniverse, whereas I, on the other hand, have no such need for them because I was born within it, demon. For who I am and where I come from isn't as important as it is in having me wonder now as to how exactly it was that you had learned about the Omniverse from within your reality, and more importantly, on that woven power that I'm sensing coming deep from within you, Raijin. Yes, for I can see that you had went and combined your power with the former angel known as Murno, who just so happened to have once existed within this known reality of yours, as this would go on to explain as to why I am able to now sense both angelic and demonic energy that is radiating from your soul, but nevertheless, you are an abomination of the highest order, demon. But while I extend to you this chilling welcome, the entity continues, I did not expect to go and find myself in having to foresee there to be any soul, whether they be one of divine origins or that of a mortal one, that you ever go as far as to reach within such chambers as the one that you are currently standing within. But what I will say is that your presence here, though extremely bold, needs some inspiration in hopes of acquiring a status that you know absolutely nothing about, demon. And since we have already been here for a very long time, while your amalgamated merger of power involving the former angel known as Murno is quite remarkable, there are others who exist within the confines of my circle here within the Omniverse, whose very power transcend the very known vistas that your primitive little mind can possibly hope to comprehend here, Raijin. For we would have more than likely have considered your services further aid our cause if your heart wasn't so plagued with both greed, envy, and selfishness. But you should go and take this moment now here to tread very carefully and absorb my counsel while you are here, because the realm in which you seek to go and make your way directly into is a limitless orchestration of billions upon billions of different worlds, multiverses, timelines, and realities. We don't plan on welcoming outsiders unless you are to fully go and submit your soul and giving way to my will and my will alone, demon.
With Raijin responding, why you? So you know about my amalgamated nature through having my power in essence be merged with that fallen angel Myrno after all now, huh? Well, nevertheless, even if you do just so happen to know about what I went and had become, do you truly think that these childish little riddles of yours are going to be what truly intimidates me, creature? Because all you have managed to go and do here is simply go and boil my blood right now, Raijin says. And so now stand aside and make use of this moment of mercy that I offer you before I go and reduce you to nothing more.
See, this continues this Black Air Force application because, you know, he said, nah, I'm ready to stand on business and throw them hands. You in the way? Let's run the fade then. I mean, hell, don't just be sitting there looking all mysterious and you know, under a cloak or whatever the fuck it is. Hell, come on out, demon. Hell, let's run that fade.
Embers of that very fire that you have went and surround yourself within, creature, as I will not go and give you another warning like this again, with the entity responding,
Raijin, for this rage that you harbor is quite the sight for someone like myself to go and have to behold here. However, since you are so adamant in trying to attempt to go and force your way through and wanting to go and reach through the other side here, then perhaps I should go and allow for you to go and try to do so anyways, just so you can go and see that no matter how ruthless and no matter how powerful you think that you are, there will always be someone out there who is far stronger and far more ruthless than you could ever hope in having to possibly dream of becoming, Raijin. But the most ironic thing about all of this is that no matter how ruthless and no matter how evil and no matter how vicious and no matter how violent you have went and having to showcase for yourself to go and be, I, on the other hand, am far greater than you could ever possibly hope for yourself to go and be, as we are the ones who were always and will forever remain in total control of everything, demon, and so don't you ever go and forget it.
Nonsense, creature, Raijin then shouts, for how could you possibly expect to hope to know anything about what it is that I possess, when I in fact happen to go and harbor a power that is capable of destroying entire multiversal systems at the crack of my fingertips, you worthless animal. And since you truly want to go and test my patience, then you will either reveal yourself and fight me here and now, because if you don't, then you will go and step aside and make way for my infinite conquest to begin, with the entity responding,
And you somehow think that threatening me is going to go and honestly get you where exactly here, demon? Because not only are you utterly delusional if you still choose to want to go and take me on as you currently are right now, but even if I were to go as far as to reveal myself here against you, the end result will ultimately end the same, where you could never come to fully understand on just how dangerous we truly are here, Raijin. However,
So dude just told him basically like, I mean, I ain't even got to show you my real self. This ain't nothing but my avatar in the field we currently in, bruh. You ain't even got to see the real me for me to whoop your ass. Hey man, that's some like Doctor Doom type shit. Like, hold on, this ain't even gonna be the real me. This is like a Doom bot. I'm gonna just send my little secondary version of myself to come knock you the fuck out because you ain't shit. Damn, he got 106 in. Flex though.
if you still believe that you truly have what it takes, despite it having the powers of one of the most powerful angels to ever exist within such a reality as your ultimate weapon of destruction here, then simply put, as I would go as far as to assure you one more time by telling you that you will not be powerful enough to destroy me even if you tried, demon, let alone in having to go horizons.
With Raijin responding, "Oh, really now? And is that a fact then, creature? Because with that fallen angel's powers, along with his divine nature having to now course through my very veins and placing me at the absolute top when it comes to being the strongest living creature within my own governing reality, and I haven't even began to reveal the fruits of my true power here just yet, but maybe now I have more of a reason to go and now do so, since I can now see with my very own eyes that you are just dying to find out, and so now allow for me to hereby go and show you." But it was even despite with all of this, with Raijin's attempted attack now being proven unsuccessful as the entity was shown having to stare back and having to laugh at Raijin, was when the entity went on to then quickly respond,
Then by all means go right ahead and try, demon, but while you only continue to prove on why a creature such as yourself cannot be relied upon or to have someone such as yourself be trusted with anything, as you should be very careful with what it is that you wish for, because not only have we all had witnessing a power that is very similar to your very own many times before, but as it currently stands within this very moment here between us, demon, and since I never would have expected to actually go and find another living creature such as yourself and even having to come this far and wanting to try to see if they can peer into the omniverse in order to go and see what truly lies beyond the other side here, as you are far too untrustworthy to go and be given the chance to join our ranks by serving directly under us, and because I wish to see you crumble beneath the weight of your own failures within your own respective timeline and reality, so as long as I exist, the omniverse and everything that you have learned that dwells inside of it belongs to me. And so don't assume that I didn't already know about you here, Raijin, because despite of you having to now finally acquire the answers to your questions and seeing if there is more that exists outside of your own known given reality, you can go and rest assured here when I tell you that there is far more that is left unexplored that lies in wait within the voids of the omniverse, but you won't be alive long enough to ever go and be given a chance to see that for yourself, as there can only ever be one true ruler of it all, and that very ruler and title hereby as God King belongs to me.
"Well, fine, then so be it, because if that just means that I will have to go and tear right through you in order for me to finally lay claim over everything in its entirety, then that is going to be exactly what it is that I will hereby go and do. And so now come and show me on what you're truly capable of then, and let's find out." With the entity responding,
Foolish demon, try as you may like and try as hard as your cold, dark heart wishes to exert out here against us, but understand that while you are here and while I am able to now reach you, I hope that you understand that I will never go and allow for you to cross on over within the actual omniverse itself, for your very fate is to be served inside of your own reality, and if you aren't destroyed by the time that we are able to go find and reach you, then I hope you just know that I will personally ensure that we are going to be the ones who will destroy you.
But then, to which it was only all the while in the meantime as this was shown having to happen, when then venturing back on over and seeing our heroes finally be shown having to wake back up after having to be saved by Whis, slowly but surely with our heroes now being shown finally coming back into their own, with Goku having to observe and seeing this portal for himself alongside with the others, was when Goku then went on to quickly respond, What in the world just happened? Whis, it's you. You've saved us, but the better question here is, what the heck happened to Raijin? And just what in the world is that thing which just so happened to have opened right in front of us? Goku then questions. And how is it that you had went and managed to stay alive out here long enough against Raijin, Whis? Or were you able to go and learn something about Raijin during your battle here against them that perhaps could go and give us some kind of an edge as to what relates to some kind of a weakness that Raijin may be hiding out here against us that we can go and use? Goku questions, with Whis responding, Worry not, for he is not presently here with us, for he had went and combined the 3 configuration cubes and having to go and be taken directly into the gateway realm that leads into the Omniverse itself. But, Whis continues, while we don't have the time here to go and get into all of the details with what it was that I had learned when battling against this demon, and as I want for you all to go and listen very closely, as my battle against Raijin has left a profoundly unsettling feeling, since I now know that he is holding back, and so because I know that he is holding back tremendous amounts of power, I was able to go and capitalize on this moment given my ability to use my staff and heal myself at any given moment, which was how I was able to maintain myself for as long long as I currently did, and so as long as my staff remains intact with me, Whis continues, and I can continue to go and keep us all alive while we are down here with him by healing you all whenever it is needed. However, I am afraid that we are no match in having to stand up against this beast, which is exactly as to why the overall situation right now is at its most critical, Whis says. But I do believe that I was able to in fact sense some kind of a vulnerability that came from deep within him, but I wasn't able to go and make out as to what exactly it was or where exactly it was that I could exploit such a weakness. But despite with what it is that I know, Raijin isn't unbeatable, but he's far stronger than Murno was for any one of us to go and take him down even while combined here. However, Whis adds, I do believe that perhaps we could further expose the weakness by attacking him altogether, as I could go and provide aid by healing everyone when needed, so that way we can go and make sure that we can extend this battle for as long as we possibly can in order to ensure our survival by not allowing for that demon to go and be given the chance to go and try to destroy us here. But while the realm that he is currently within is said to be a gateway entrance just before having to go and enter into the Omniverse itself, Whis continues, and I cannot begin to tell you on whether or not Raijin was fully successful or not in having to go about his mission here, but Whis continues, speaking of the very monster himself, there appears to be something very wrong with whatever may be going through and coming out from the other side of this portal here, and while I do not know on what it is that we will have to go and expect here, Whis continues upon now being shown Raijin get thrown out of the gateway realm and now having to make his way back within his own reality within the demon realm, was when Whis went on to then continue, we must go and stick together here at all times if we are to go and find ourselves in having to go and battle against him, because without me here to aid you all through my healing, then we will all end up being destroyed if we aren't focused enough in this battle against him. With Goku then chiming in, hey, wait a minute now, look, because am I seeing things here, or are those blast marks that are covering parts of his body over there, Goku questions? Because if that just so happens to be the case, then this only just begs the question on who exactly it was or what exactly it was that Raijin had went and encountered while going through that thing, with Beerus responding, but what's even more disturbing are those 3 configuration cubes that are still glowing out there, because why do I have this strange and unsettling feeling that something is about to go and happen with them out there, Whis, with Vegeta then being shown chiming in, wait a minute, you don't think that Raijin is about to go and use those cubes against us somehow now, will he? Because we'll need to go and brace for whatever is about to go and happen if this turns out to be some kind of a preparation for an attack of some kind. And so what do we do, with Whis then quickly being shown having to chime in, no, for this doesn't appear to look like some kind of an incoming attack of some kind, because with all of the cubes now regrouping and all moving together all on their own, the amount of energy that is now beginning to leak from its outer edges suggests that something far more destructive is about to go and happen right now, Whis adds, which we therefore must hurry and brace ourselves within the walls of my barrier here once again, for this just so happens to appear as though this seems to be the doing of some kind of an outside force that goes far beyond that demon god Raijin out there, as I only say that to say this because if this was what Raijin had been after for a very long time, then I highly doubt that he would just simply go and destroy all of these cubes for absolutely no reason whatsoever, and especially if it isn't for him to go and prevent us in having to go and follow him through and onto the other side in hopes of having to stop him. But then, it was only just within these very moments now, with all 3 configuration cubes now being shown having to completely explode above Raijin and creating a massive shockwave below, was when Goku then went on to quickly chime back in, well, it looks like you were right about those cubes then here, Whis, but man, Goku says, and just how much power do you think was honestly needed for someone to go and destroy those things? Because from what it looks like, whoever had went and made it their mission to go and cast Raijin out and destroy those configuration cubes must be just as strong as Raijin is for them to go and pull this off like this. And so now what do you think that we should go and do now, Whis? As Whis was then shown having to create his barrier to shield everyone by then responding, well, whatever that may have been is no longer what is mostly important here, Whis says, because now it looks like that with Raijin perhaps coming up short and having to find himself and fully being successful while undertaking his mission and attempting to go and see this through until completion, we cannot go and take our eyes off this monster in the meantime, which is exactly why you will all need to go and be ready and prepared for anything that will be thrown within our direction during this coming conflict here against Raijin, Whis adds, because if we don't at least go and try to hold out against this beast for either help to arrive or for a weakness of his to be fully capitalized upon, for we will need everyone want to be ready and having to go and face the absolute worst, which I will go and urge you all one last time to not go and take this moment for granted either while we are down here, Whis says, with Vegeta responding, oh well then should we go and start attacking him now, because we might not have another chance to swarm him while he's currently looking away. But then, it was only just then within these very moments now as an angry Raijin then began to exert more of his power by powering up following the destruction of all 3 configuration cubes, was when Raijin then went on to quickly respond, curse you all, you persistently conniving insects, all of you! For I was at my closest in being as to where I was destined to go and be, and now it's all been ripped away from me, just as it was all taken away from me when I first came into contact once before. And since you are all that is left that is standing within my way, since I can't go back within that gateway realm so that I may go and destroy the entity that I went and cast me out here by force, then I am going to hereby now go and guarantee that you are all going to be the ones that will be on the receiving end and having to suffer greatly because of it. As I am going to take my anger out on all of you in such a way where not only will your pain be slow and deliberate, Raijin continues, while ensuring that every wound you suffer is to fester with pain and agony. But if the Omniverse itself and the power that goes beyond this reality is to remain inaccessible to me, then I am going to go and take every bit of my hatred out on the rest of you, before and having me go and reach the remainder of your friends that are left, for you will all suffer in that creature's place for stripping me of my destiny once again. As it was only right then and there now, during that moment, where the Beyond Dragon Ball Super Story of the Dark Masters, the official Murno sequel, manga chapter number 50 special, then comes to a close.
Well, actually, I'll go ahead and take it from here, as I do want to go as far as to address something very important with our dear viewers at the moment. As before I go and give you the following information, if you aren't already a member of Unreal's Patreon community, then you are truly missing out on so much without you even knowing, because not only is the next episode already on the page, but if you want to support all of the manga content that you see and gain access to tons of exclusives along the way that range from a variety of different things, then we do encourage for you all to become members of our Patreon community today, for we will link everything down within the description box below and pinned comment section as well. Now I will go as far as to say that although I wasn't truly expecting to watch as Raijin had been seemingly thrown out of that unknown dimension as he is now, once again with us here within the Demon Realm, it would appear as though this looks to finally now be it, since Raijin has now fully redirected his focus and attention back onto us. We must stand united and use every and all possible measures that we can if we hope to stay alive out here long enough for something to change. And because this now looks as though it'll more than likely be our final battle against this monster, you do not want to go and miss out on what is about to happen coming up next. So we hope that you all enjoyed today's video, and before you leave, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up by smashing that like button on your way out, as well as also subscribing to Unreal and Gaming's channel for tons of new Dragon Ball content. So with that, we thank you all so much for watching, as we'll be seeing you all again for the next one.
Hello. Did you know that you can stay up to date with the latest Dragon Ball content by simply subscribing to Unreal and Gaming?
Also, don't forget to follow on these social media platforms, you sexy son of a bitch.
Roshi.
Silent Cell, me and the fans are having a moment. That's right. I know what you want. Extra long, thick Dragon Ball content. Quality reviews with flawless editing. Yeah, you'd like that, wouldn't you? You dirty bitch.
Roshi, the fuck?
God damn it, I need them to subscribe, Cell.
And we're demonetized.
Yeah, screw it. Let's cut to the video.
A big mistake. What do you
You're going. Pity. What a waste of talent. Not today. Back off. Have it your way. A tough guy like you should be able to face the truth.
Are you okay?
Yeah, right. Sign me up. Hey, boys, I want to be a part of the fight too. Cause that's such a good idea. Come on, guys. Don't forget there's only two of them. I mean, that wouldn't be fair. All right, I've got an idea. Everybody grab on me.
See, that lets you remember that Goku them are technically themed on good guys, because that's only some shit good guys will say. Hell, the whole squad ready to slide. Hell yeah, we all gonna slide, and everybody gonna put in some work. That's why we all gonna be in jail together. Because if we go to jail, we all going together, right? Come on now, who's going with me? Who's going with me? Look, everybody got their hand up. Notice how 18 does not have her hand up. She's not from the 313. She must be from the free world. Shouts out to the free world. That's a good rap.
Oh shit, that's
When you hear
hilarious.
someone say a character's strength increased by tens of millions of percent, it sounds like an exaggeration. But in Goku's case, it's not just real, it's absurd. Jumping from a battle power of 416 to a jaw-dropping 150 million is an insane leap. One so insane, the math alone is enough to make your brain stall. But let's not ruin the fun with numbers just yet. Let's trace the trail of farmer-level Goku to the Super Saiyan beast that scared Frieza stiff. Our first taste of the new power ceiling comes in the form of Raditz, an arrogant space warrior who just so happens to be Goku's long-lost brother. This isn't some nice family reunion, though. Raditz shows up, laughs off Piccolo's most vicious blast like he got hit with a hairdryer, and proceeds to casually tank techniques from two of Earth's best fighters. Mind you, Piccolo at this point is strong enough to give Kami a serious run for his money, yet Raditz barely flinches. Mind you, Piccolo, not too long after defeating Raditz, blew up a moon casually with ease. And Raditz is still dwarfing his power. He knocks Krillin unconscious with just his tail, not a punch or a ki blast, a literal backhand with his tail. And somehow, that's still not the most insane thing about him. Raditz makes a bold claim. Had Goku not suffered a head injury as a baby, he would have turned Earth into ash in a few years. Whether that's true or just saying posturing, the gap between Raditz and everyone else is undeniable. Goku, even after removing his weighted training, hits a power level of 416.
Good to see how you
But
doing.
Raditz, he sits comfortably at 1500 and claims he's not even
Appreciate
trying.
the thumbs
This matches
up.
with what Raditz later says, mistaking his power level for 1200 due to Raditz not revealing his full strength right away. What's even crazier is how Raditz seems to believe that even if Goku had matched his power level exactly, he'd still win. But what's clear is that Raditz is confident. He's got the experience edge regardless. Goku and Piccolo can't touch him. He's too fast, too strong, and too cocky. Then comes in the wild card, which is Gohan. The tiny half Saiyan explodes with a power level of 1300 and a blind rage, smashing right through Raditz's armor ribs like it's made of paper. That sudden burst changes everything. It gives Goku the opening he needs to lock Raditz in place, sacrificing himself so Piccolo can land the final blow. A move that ends with the infamous special beam cannon tearing right through both of them. For the first time in the series, Goku is dead. From there, Goku's training hits an entirely different level. When he arrives at King Kai's world, he finds himself battling gravity 10 times stronger than Earth's. Just walking it is a challenge, let alone fighting. Bubbles, King Kai's monkey companion, becomes his first test. And it takes Goku a while to land a tag on the little guy. But when he finally does, it's clear he's already surpassed his previous limits. King Kai even drops the bombshell. The training Goku is undergoing is so intense, it's the equivalent of thousands of years worth of training crammed into over 5 months. In reality, Goku only spends about 40 days, but training, by the end of it, he's not just stronger, he's on a completely different scale. Whatever level he was at before, it's been left in complete dust. And this is just the beginning. While training under King Kai, Goku's progression skyrockets. One of the most dangerous techniques he learns is the Spirit Bomb, a move King Kai himself warns could obliterate the planet if misused. The single warning makes it very clear. Goku at this point is more than capable of operating at planetary levels of power when focused. Even more interestingly, King Kai comments on Goku's limitless potential. It's not just a compliment either, it's a statement about Goku's trajectory. starting at a power level of 416 and then later
That's
being
always
at
good to hear,
8,000,
bro.
shows in the
Shit,
same
we
jump in
having
Goku's
another
power.
Super Saturday.
After a compressed
We
training regimen
good
due to
too.
his time constraints, Goku
Got
rockets
another
down
blunt to
Snake
roll
Way at a
up
pace
too.
that Shaki and King Kai
Shit.
originally estimated a
Twisting
2-day sprint.
trees.
Goku does it even
Watching
faster.
some Dragon
And
Ball
this isn't Goku at
content.
full
Talking
throttle
some
either.
shit.
He's still holding back. When he
Now
shows up
look
to the
how we
battlefield
do.
against the Saiyans, he's clearly suppressing his energy until he faces them directly, where he powers up to a measured 8,000. Now let's talk scale. Nappa, the hulking Saiyan Elite, unleashes a technique dubbed the Giant Storm. It's not just a big boom, this attack explodes across the surface in a blast so wide it's visible from orbit. That's continental or higher levels of destruction. Tien's desperate tri-beam fails to put Nappa down, even though it's vastly more potent than the standard Kamehameha. It actually kills Tien in the process, yet Nappa just brushes it off. It takes Krillin's Kienzan to nearly decapacitate him, which shows the sheer cutting force of the technique, even against someone far superior in raw strength. Still, Goku outclasses all of them. At 8,000, he casually overpowers Nappa, a fighter ranked at 4,000. He literally yells away one of Nappa's attacks and counters with a Ki. Now, here's something often overlooked. Even after seeing Goku's 8,000 power level, Vegeta still believes Nappa could take him out, if he was calm, which is pretty wild. So either Nappa got a momentary boost, or Goku briefly dropped his guard, or suppressed himself again. That doesn't last, however, when Goku activates the Kaioken, a move that doubles every aspect of his physical abilities, and completely wipes Nappa from the fight in an instant. It's not a technique you can spam, though. Goku explains it takes precise ki control. For a brief moment, you push your entire power past its natural limit. Power, speed, perception, and all of its surges. And that multiplier isn't just theoretical. With Kaioken times 2, Goku's power rockets to 16,000. Then the main event begins. Vegeta versus Goku, Saiyan Elite versus Earth's champion. Vegeta, even without any technique enhancement, powers up so hard that the ground begins to quake. According to supplemental material, he's already capable of destroying Earth just by charging up. No Galick Gun required. The Galick Gun is more of a condensed application of his total force, aimed in chain of destruction. Think of it as Vegeta converting his latent planet-busting power into a single focused blast. Goku fights back with Kaioken times 3, jumping to 24,000 and begins to dominate. But it's in this beam struggle where he finally hits Kaioken times 4 and reaches an overwhelming 32,000. This is the turning point. Goku doesn't just stop the Galick Gun, he crushes it, overpowering an attack intended to annihilate Earth. Vegeta, furious and bruised, realizes that the battle is slipping away and activates a backup plan, the Power Ball. It's a fake moon that mimics the blood waves needed for a Saiyan Grade 8 transformation. And the kicker is that Vegeta can use it without needing a real moon. Especially convenient because it was destroyed earlier in the series. This transformation boosts his power tenfold. However, unlike Goku as a child, Vegeta retains his full consciousness and tactical ability in this form. Now, there's a lot going on here. The Power Ball weakens him slightly before he transforms, and Vegeta is already heavily damaged. But still, he's a walking cataclysm. Goku, even at Kaioken times 4, is exhausted and outmatched. He believes that the only way to end this is with the Spirit Bomb, and he pleads for just a few seconds to charge it. But Vegeta doesn't give him that chance. It's pretty insane to think that Vegeta could have actually beat Goku here if he didn't decide to become a Grade 8. Later on in the fight, Goku actually lands a hit that damages Grade 8 Vegeta's eyes, showcasing either a vulnerability or a flaw in the transformation. Eventually, Yajirobe, a character whose power level doesn't even scratch 1,000, manages to sever Vegeta's tail, forcing the prince back to normal. And that's when Gohan and Krillin attack with a small leftover piece of Goku's Spirit Bomb, one that barely misses his full potential. Still, it's enough to push Vegeta to the brink, and yet he still survives. Gohan, transformed into a Grade 8 himself, crushes Vegeta into the ground. But Goku, the ever battle maniac, lets him crawl away, grinning. Not out of mercy, but because he wants a rematch one day. Following that battle, Goku is completely broken physically. A single senzu bean heals him instantly, but more importantly, it gives him a Zenkai boost. The Saiyan genetic trait of gaining massive power after recovering from critical damage. It's unclear just how much stronger he becomes, but it's substantial. Recognizing that the threat is still looming, Goku has his old pod retruffled into a high-speed gravity ship by Dr. Briefs. The new vessel allows training under 100 times Earth gravity, the same environment Saiyans from planet Vegeta were raised in. With the ship's updated speed, he can reach Namek in just 6 days on par with the elite Saiyan pods. As Goku rockets through space towards Namek and his customized ship, we get a glimpse of how brutally intense his training becomes. His regimen quickly escalates into sleepless, high-intensity sessions under immense gravitational pressure, far beyond anything Earth could replicate. Before long, we're told he collapses from exhaustion, revealing the punishing toll his self-inflicted gauntlet is taking. Interestingly, Goku credits his ability to push to such extremes to the battle with Vegeta back on Earth. The fight, which left him on the brink of death, unknowingly granted him a Zenkai boost, a unique trait that lets Saiyan grow stronger vastly under near-death experiences. Thanks to this post-fight growth spurt, he's able to adapt training under 50 times Earth's gravity relatively easily. But it doesn't stop there. Through relentless efforts and repeated strain-induced Zenkais, Goku eventually masters 100 times Earth's gravity, a level that dwarfs what Saiyans were traditionally believed capable of achieving. Even the narrator remarks that Goku has ascended past the known limits of his race. This becomes a running theme for the rest of the saga. Goku isn't just keeping up with legends, he's leaving them in the dust. When he finally lands on Namek, the shift in Goku's presence is so dramatic that even the Ginyu Force, Frieza's elite squad, begins speculating that he might become short of an anomaly among Saiyans. Their suspicion isn't unfounded either. In fact, his new power is so fast that Raccoon, who earlier swatted Gohan to take aside with his breath, is instantly considered a single elbow strike to the gut. And that's important because Gohan at the time had his latent potential unlocked by Elder Guru, skyrocketing his level to around 14,000, a benchmark that surpasses planetary destruction according to El Manga Legendarium. In contrast, Goku's performance makes this look like child's play. His precision and sheer force are now leagues above even seasoned warriors like Jason Bird, who dispatch effortless energy bursts and flickering speed. Bird, the self-proclaimed fastest in the universe, is utterly outpaced, which might be chalked up to Goku's intense gravity training, reshaping his raw reaction time and physical control. Goku's unique training has reshaped the way his body performs entirely. He's not just stronger, he's fundamentally more efficient. His taking out of Birder caused Jace to panic, and he flees to report the threat to Captain Ginyu. Unfazed, Ginyu remarks that only Lord Frieza should be able to defeat the Ginyu Force, which raises an interesting contradiction. Guru can freeze time and Ginyu can body swap, which implies either Frieza has countermeasures to these hacks abilities or is simply so dominant that these gimmicks are irrelevant against him. From there, we get a notable power gap established. Jace admits that he's never heard of any Saiyan approaching 60,000 in power, and yet here stands Goku, measured over 90,000, by Captain Ginyu himself. Ginyu is quick to clock Goku's ability to match his strength, showcasing his experience and reading opponents beyond what scouters can detect. And that's something we hadn't seen much before, a recognition of his fighting IQ among enemies. Ginyu's comments suggest that power alone isn't what makes Goku dangerous, it's his command over it as well. Then comes the pivotal twist. Ginyu's surprise at Goku's level leads him to steal his body, and in doing so, he quickly realizes the problem. He can't wield Goku's strength properly. In Ginyu's hands, Goku's body maxes out around 23,000 roughly, which is equivalent to Zarbon's transformed state. This not only shows how important body-soul synergy is in Dragon Ball, but also provides a clear baseline. Goku's true power wasn't just in numbers, it was in mastery. Eventually, Goku's injured body is placed in a rejuvenation pod, and while still recovering, Krillin reflects on a long-observed pattern. Goku's always returned from near death dramatically stronger. That old trait rooted in Saiyan biology is about to pay off in a massive way. Once fully healed, Goku's battle power explodes to a staggering 3 million. That's more than 33 times stronger than his previous peak during the Ginyu fight. This upgrade is so substantial that when Goku later confronts Frieza's final form, he actually manages to tag him, something Frieza remarks only his parents have ever been able to do. This moment doesn't just highlight the impact of Zenkai boost, it underscores Goku's explosive growth curve. In the span of a single saga, Goku has gone from barely managing Kaioken multipliers to breaking into a league where his very existence is pushed against the boundary of galactic threats. Frieza's true potential has long been hinted at in official sources, with guidebooks like Daizenshuu cutting his final form at containing unfathomable levels of strength. This becomes crystal clear when he effortlessly lifts and hurls an entire landmass at Goku using sheer telekinesis. A moment that nearly crushes him under the weight, though Goku manages to slow it down, barely keeping his footing. At just half of his full strength, Frieza clocks in with a power level of 60 million, completely overwhelming Goku's Kaioken times 10. And that's mind-boggling, considering how far Goku had already come. By this point, he was hundreds of times stronger than the version that embarrassed Captain Ginyu, the same Ginyu who stomped beings capable of deflecting planet-destroying blasts with nothing but a shout. And when looking at the anime's portrayal, Frieza doesn't even have to exert a third of his power to manhandle Goku with enhanced Kaioken times 10. And that tracks perfectly if you break it down. A third of 120 million is 40 million, while Goku with Kaioken times 10 would sit at around 30 million. When Goku pushes to Kaioken times 20, he momentarily closes the gap, even managing to push Frieza back with a massive Kamehameha. Yet Frieza halts a blast using just one hand and not effortlessly, but without being truly threatened either. He actually says that it hurts him. Despite the impressive show of force, the Kaioken times 20 takes a huge toll on Goku's body, leaving him battered and drained. With no other choice, he calls on the Spirit Bomb. And this time, powered by the energy of Namek's ecosystem and nearby celestial bodies, Goku knows that it's so potent it could obliterate the entire planet if it was mishandled. When it lands, it nearly does the job, putting Frieza down more decisively than the feeble Genki Dama that barely scratched Vegeta way back on Earth. But it's not over. Enraged and humiliated, Frieza lashes out on others. He murders Krillin in a brutal display, and in that moment, Goku crosses the threshold. The Golden Warrior awakens. The legendary Super Saiyan is born. Most fans agree that this transformation boosts Goku's strength 50-fold, according to Daizenshuu 7, and his power skyrockets to 150 million. And that tracks with what we know. His base was far beyond his prior versions, and the 50 times boost makes the Super Saiyan variant capable of devastation on a cosmic scale. Interestingly, Frieza doesn't immediately destroy Namek after becoming desperate. Instead, he launches an attack at his core and pretends to be confused when the planet doesn't blow up right away. In truth, it seems Frieza wanted to savor the duel to test this Super Saiyan power himself, rather than just ending the fight instantly. Goku catches on and they continue battling, almost as if silently agreeing to finish this clash properly. In the anime version of events, this battle becomes quite the marathon, one of the lengthiest in anime history. At one point, Frieza slaps Goku into molten lava with his Nova Strike, seemingly killing him. Even Gohan believes that it's over, and we get a glimpse of him holding his own against Frieza for a brief moment. Then Goku dramatically returns from the brink, and the narrator even implies that Super Saiyan may have grown stronger mid-battle, possibly from a Zenkai boost right then and there. Later in the fight, Frieza fires a colossal death ball, which Super Saiyan Goku punches so hard it zips off into space at light speed, slamming into distant planets and vaporizing them. It's a terrifying reminder of how much destructive potential both of them are holding back. And this all raises interesting debates about space durability as well. By the time Goku and Frieza's battle wraps up, the scale of Dragon Ball combat has officially left planet tier behind. We're watching warriors who can shatter dimensions, ignoring the laws of physics, and shape the fate of the entire star system with their fists. Frieza's final stand on Namek is a perfect example of how strength alone doesn't make someone the better fighter. Even after pushing Goku to transform into a Super Saiyan, Frieza holds his own surprisingly well, at least for a decent time. The battle turns more psychological than physical once Frieza begins to burn through his energy reserves. Despite initially matching Goku blow for blow, it becomes apparent that the Emperor's power is rapidly deteriorating. One of the more underappreciated aspects of the fight is Frieza's Death Saucer technique. Unlike Krillin's Destructo Disc, Frieza demonstrates incredible precision and control over this version, steering it mid-fight as if he's piloting it with his thoughts. It's a great example of just how redefined his key manipulation is, but even with such finesse, it all crumbles back to his lack of stamina and foresight. Goku, even in his base form, is able to dodge these discs, which is a subtle but telling sign that Frieza's power had dropped so far that he was no longer a real threat. Eventually, Frieza ends up cutting himself with his own technique, a brutal irony that underscores how his arrogance and desperation outpaced his awareness. In a rare moment of compassion, Goku tosses him some energy, offering a chance at redemption. That act alone speaks volumes about Goku's character, especially considering that he knew he still had plenty of strength left if Frieza made the wrong choice. And of course, he does. He turns on Goku once more, only to be met with one of the most iconic finishing moves in anime history, a point-blank energy wave that erases him in spectacular fashion. And let's not ignore the explosive finale, literally. Namek's destruction is visually dramatic in the anime, with the entire planet erupting in a blast that's so massive it's shown from what looks like interstellar space. While some fans argue whether this is symbolic or a literal depiction, it doesn't change how wild it is that Frieza survives the aftermath. If that detonation was even remotely close to what is portrayed, surviving it adds another layer of absurd durability to his character. The real question becomes, was Goku going full power the entire time as a Super Saiyan, or was he holding back once he realized Frieza was running out of gas? Given how easily he reacts in base later on, it's very likely that Goku was showing so much strain once he realized that the fight had become one-sided. Either way, the fight ends with poetic justice. Frieza's ego leads to his downfall, while Goku walks away with the high ground morally and literally. Goku started the arc at around 416, and then later was at 150 million. This kind of increase in approximation is 36,057,598.08%. Just for those people who wanted to have a black and white answer. That's pretty much how strong Goku got. And that's just the beginning.
Okay. That is a big jump though. 400 to 150 mil. Damn. Let that drop into a bank account one day, right?
Stronger than he was even before, to the point where he could hold up Mount Sumeru on just one shoulder, which basically equaled out to holding up the infinite cosmic sky. Wukong was able to reach perfection on his journey, entering into the incomplete nirvana, which is boundless reality beyond everything, beyond all concepts and limitations. It's above the God realms and the formless realms, which those two realms were already above physicality and dimensions. So we're talking about like true outer-versal stuff here. And it doesn't stop there, because at the end of his journey, Sun Wukong was brought before the Buddha again. And he transcended into the complete nirvana, which made him even more powerful.
Uh-oh, we got some gas today. Speaking of which, shouts out to the big homie.
a place for you to stay. In the garden, by the door, in the bedroom, on the floor. Remember me when you're far away. I'll always have a place for you to stay. In the middle of the night, I'm gonna be there till the morning light.
Yeah, go on ahead to drop that kid off a waterfall on the top of his motherfucking head, though. He gonna be alright. He gonna live. He gonna make it. I just had to drop that dude, right? Oh shit! I realized he was tough, but his head was too fucking hard, right? So since his head was hard, I dropped him on that shit, and he been acting right ever since.
Remember me when you're far away. I'll always have a place for you to stay. In the middle of the night, I'm gonna be there till the morning light.
Yeah, that's why Goku always had unlimited potential. Gohan raised him to be right. He like, shit, I had to, drop an elbow top of his head, you know what I'm saying? I said I dropped him, but there was a motherfucking stiff elbow in the real story. What happened? We was close quarters. He was trying to get me because, he's strong little motherfucker. I knew it was a person with a tail, nigga. You thought he wasn't gonna be strong? Kira Toriyama just got on that bullshit was about drawing a tail, so that's why they cut that whole part of the story out, because it was easier to not write the tales. The big homie will take over the show if you let him. Hell, you see how the videos just pop up. Anyways, shouts out to the big homie. Catch y'all next Super Saturday.